Morning guys, Mark here on Celtic Crossbows. We're going to look at some of these new zombie knife laws which the government is threatening us with, and the police are happy to enforce and follow every word of the letter of our two-tier policing system. Now it says quite clearly on the website, for basc, this is the criteria for a zombie knife. A zombie style knife or machete is defined as a bladed article with the following elements: a plain cutting edge, a sharp pointed end, and a blade of 8 inches in length or more, with the top handle in a straight line. So that defines a machete. But in addition to that, to be follow the law, it must have a serrated edge on one or either side of the blade. So you got a combat knife, you got your main blade, and you got teeth on the back, or a saw point or something like that, or a choil, or a blunted out section for a fire steel. That warrants a cutting edge. It's two high and low points providing a difference from the main blade. So that's like we're classing it as serration. More than one hole in any shape of the blade. So we look at a knife like the USMC or UMC striker knife, where it's basically a large Bowie style knife with cutouts in the blade to make it look really cool and sexy. And you got to be like, basically that's it. So we've got an extra drilling in the blade for hanging your machete on a nail on a garden shed wall or something like that. That would now be illegal. You can have a hole through the handle to pass a lanyard, but any cutouts in the blade at all will make it illegal. Spikes. So like some of the knives will have two forks coming off either side of the main blade. Again, this will bring it in the category of a zombie knife. More than two sharp points in the blade. So some you see these is like a Kuri style machete. It'll have an extra blade coming off underneath or whatever. That will also classify as a zombie style knife. So recap on that then, here we go. It was got a plain cutting edge on one side, a sharp pointed end, and a blade of over 8 inches. This defines a machete. A serrated edge on the back or face of the blade, more than one or any more two shapes in the blade, spikes and more than two sharp points in the blade is classed as a zombie knife or a zombie machete, and that is illegal. If you have an original design machete, that is not illegal. You will be able to keep it, you will be able to use it. So if you've got something like the Bear Grylls Pakuda, Parang, the short machete, or full-size machete, or a traditional machete, as long as they're unmolested, no extra holes in the blade, no serrations cut in the back for cutting through wood while you're out working, which is insane. You would cut through wood with a machete. That's one of the things I use mine for regular. But if it's a completely unmolested original design machete, that is legal. You can keep it. It is specifically one of the ones containing one or more of the items being. So you've got your basic machete design. If it's got any of these extra features, such as a serrated edge on the blade, front or spine, more than one hole of any shape in the blade, spikes in the hilt or on the blade, more than two sharp points in the blade, then it is illegal, and you got till September 24th to hand it in. You get a £10 rebate or you will get nicked. They do a special deal on this one. They're offering 4 years prison if you don't hand it in. I think that's a bargain, because it's can be up to much longer. If it was something like a butterfly knife, which you can ban now for about 20 years, you could find yourself 50 years because it's a banned weapon. And like a firearm, if you was found with an unlicensed firearm, it's not a banned weapon. It's an unlicensed firearm. That's different. This is a banned weapon, and you would find an extended prison sentence with it. So if you look at something like on your website, the USMC Desert Ops Sawback Machete, if you've got a knife or something like that, it has got to be handed in. No buts, no grey areas. It's a combat style machete from the likes of USMC Desert Ops. You will be illegal, no two buts about it. So why is a traditional machete not affected by this law? When the blade comes around, it curves in a scallop, it extenuates and rounds to a point up, but the point isn't pointing at the target, it's rounded up because obviously it's for cleaving and cutting with. The new combat style machetes from the likes of USMC Desert Ops is a clear point where the blade converges on both sides of the spine and the face of the blade to make a clear point for stabbing with, which you couldn't really do with a traditional machete. There's also other exceptions as well in the law. On grandfather rights, if the device is over 100 years old, which none of these new devices are, is exempt or of historical interest. So it could be Second World War, First World War. Second World War wouldn't equate, actually, because it would be 10 years short. It's for 100 years and over. So it was a First World War device, which some Hungarian or whatever has shaped out in the battlefield. Some English officer for playing with in his back garden. It wouldn't be affected by this new law. Weapons listed in the offensive weapons order are subject to an absolute prohibition of possession even in private houses. So unlike some knives which are banned in a public place, like if you've got an over 3.5 inch or a 4 inch folding knife with a linear lock or a thumb lock on it, it is completely illegal outside your house. You can have it in your house, in your collection, but you cannot take it outside any description. This is not like that at all. You can't even have it in your house, in your possession, for collection on a wall. They're saying there's absolutely no need for it. So the absolute ownership right across the country is banned in its absolution. And any further people trying to bring them into the country will also be subject to a 4-year prison sentence. Right, so we're going to now the surrender and compensation scheme. The government surrender and compensation scheme, as long as you hand in your zombie device machete, I'm not looking at the knives or mention knives because I'm not interested in knives. I don't collect knives. I got 1 or 2 beautiful handmade knives thanks to Stuart. But as for being an avid knife collector has never been my thing. So we're looking at the machetes because I think a machete is an important part of daily life for a lot of people in the Forestry Commission, farmers, dairies, etc. And for clearing out around the farms, general day use, groundsmen, groundkeeping, gardeners. There's lots of uses for a machete. But unfortunately, like as always, there's always a few that spoil it for the many. Okay, so the Home Office documents detailing the prohibition and surrender scheme referred to above also include a very useful annex including pictures of those machetes and knives that will be caught. It will also show ways in which the bridge angles are measured. So it even shows that they actually, so even if you think the angles aren't right for defining a point, they've even got guidelines for the police on the government website for that. I'll include pictures now at the end of the video for the style of zombie knives thereafter and machetes, as you can see for yourself. Links to the BASC, as you can see they report this, which they've compiled with the Home Office, which I assume would have been formulating all the bullshit for this new law. And also then links to the government website of what they defines for them this new epidemic, which has suddenly sprung on our doorstep, along with the wave of people who probably brought them in the first place. I say probably because we never know, because they're all rocket science doctors and engineers, aren't they? So this is where we are, folks. You got roughly, as of the 27th of August today, you got until September the 23rd to comply. If you're caught after that, it could be up to 4 years prison. I say could be. You will have different stations which will have a bit of leniency on it, or you've been away on holiday, you come home, you'll have a bit of leniency. I thought a good police officer would do that. But it was something like 3, 4, 5, 6 months after the time, and you've been caught with a bit of wacky backy in your car and they've raided your house and they find one of these zombie knives in your house, then you've got no excuse. It's a 4-year automatic sentence. Okay guys, hope you enjoy this. Hit the like button, subscribe and share the video, and I'll see you on the next one. Thanks and bye bye.